Here are the top stories for today, June 29, 2022. Stay vigilant. The Health Department warns the public and those joining the inauguration of President-elect Ferdinand Marcos Jr. to observe health rules to prevent the event from becoming a super spreader event for COVID-19. Customs official refute allegations of involvement in agricultural smuggling after they were named in a Senate report, saying they were actively taking the lead in the campaign against this illegal activity. The Securities and Exchange Commission affirms its earlier decision to shut down Rappler over violations of constitutional provisions on ownership of media entities. And Manila expresses its strong objection to Taiwan's live-fire drills off the coast of Ligaw Island, the latest of its moves to assert its sovereignty over its territories in the West Philippine Sea. Our top story tonight, the Department of Health reminds participants to the inauguration rites of President-elect Ferdinand Bongbong Marcos Jr. to follow health protocols a day before he is officially sworn into office. This as the country sees an uptick in COVID-19 cases amid the transition to a new administration. Speaking at a Laging Handa briefing, Health Undersecretary Maria Rosario Vergeres says this applies to attendees of the rites as well as those joining protest rallies. She calls on the public to continue exercising vigilance through physical distancing, wearing of masks and proper sanitation, and availing of COVID-19 jabs. The Health Department and the Philippine Red Cross will deploy medical teams for the occasion to respond to medical emergencies. Vergeres, meanwhile, agreed with outgoing Health Chief Francisco Duque III's suggestion that his predecessor must have experience in handling a pandemic. She also adds that the next health chief must also have a deep understanding of public health policies. Everything is all set for the oath-taking of the incoming President, Ferdinand Bongbong Marcos Jr. The Office of Civil Defense has activated its National Incident Management Team, who will assist in the monitoring and coordination of emergency preparedness for tomorrow's event. Meanwhile, PNP Director for Operations, Police Major General Valeriano De Leon says they are planning to temporarily cut phone signals during the inauguration.
Sa ngayon, we consider that as one of the actions, pero sa ngayon, I've not finalized it. Hanggang mamayang gabi ay mag-up ang NPC, ang Presidential Security Group, ganun din ang Police Force, para malaman kung there is still a need to do that. Meantime, we are strictly enforcing a very strict screening process doon sa manunood sa general populace. Alam mo, nakakatulong din itong ginagawa ng local government ng Manila dahil nag-declare na po sila na non-working holiday. At nakikipag-ugnayan din kami sa iba't ibang city dito sa Kamaynilaan para mag-declare din ng ganong holiday para maibsan ng konti ang mga trapiko.
The National Capital Region Police Office, or NCRPO, earlier said it will deploy a mobile jail near the venue to deter rowdy protesters. Meanwhile, Interior Secretary Eduardo Años said the inauguration rites will be simple. It will feature military and civic parades to be followed by the oath-taking and inauguration speech of Marcos. Officials of the Bureau of Customs denied their supposed involvement in agricultural smuggling in the country. In a statement, Customs Commissioner Ray Leonardo Guerrero said he vehemently denies the accusations based on a supposed validated list. In a report of the Senate Committee of the Whole on Monday, Guerrero and several other officials of the Bureau were named as alleged protectors and smugglers of agricultural products. Also implicated is Customs Intelligence and Investigation Service Director Geoffrey Tasio. He also denied the allegations. Other BOC officials identified on the list were Deputy Commissioner Rainiel Ramiro, Deputy Commissioner Vener Bakiran and lawyer Yasser Abbas. The Securities and Exchange Commission affirmed its decision to revoke Rappler certificates of incorporation. The latest SEC decision declared as void the Philippine Depository Receipts or PDRs issued to American firm Omidyar Network by Rappler and Rappler Holdings Corporation. According to SEC, this violated, among others, Section 71.2 of the Securities Regulation Code. PDRs are an investment instrument that allows domestic and foreign investors to place funds in a local firm. The SEC noted that the Constitution requires 100% Filipino ownership of any mass media entity to protect the country's best interests and prevent public opinion to be influenced by foreign investors. Meanwhile, Rappler said it has been notified by its lawyers of the SEC ruling and will appeal the decision as they find the proceedings highly irregular. Despite being at odds with President Rodrigo Duterte and the PDP Laban wing of Energy Secretary Alfonso Cusi, Senator Aquilino Coco Pimentel III thanked Duterte for his sacrifices for the nation. Last March, Pimentel declared that he is no longer a personal ally of President Duterte because they do not talk anymore and are no longer party mates. However, Pimentel said he holds no grudges against President Duterte. Pimentel congratulates Duterte for his presidential term and wishes him the best of health. The Department of Agriculture, or DA, is ready to hand over all the science-based and informed planning they have to incoming Chief and President-elect Ferdinand Bongbong Marcos Jr. Agriculture Secretary William Dar said they hope Marcos's team will be able to go through with the DA's first ever long-term plan, particularly the National Agriculture and Fisheries Modernization and Industrialization Plan 2021 to 2030. Included in their transition reports are the identified agricultural problems, their causes, and the short, medium, and long-term recommendations. Among the plan's goals were to ensure the pursuance of urban and peri-urban farming, as well as the establishment of multiple national, regional, provincial, and district food terminal systems nationwide. Dar also reiterated the need to increase the country's rice buffer stock.
Ninyo or Manong Willie ninyo ay signing off until June 30. Yun po ang sign-off date natin. I would like to thank everyone. Nagpapasalamat po tayong lahat sa pagkataon na ito na nanilbihan ulit sa ating bansa. At gusto kong bigyan ng thank you to President Rodrigo Duterte for the trust and confidence na binalik po ninyo ako for the second time as Secretary of Agriculture. At ginawa po namin lahat na makakaya in spite of all these problems.
Yes.
Ang gusto natin makita, modern industrializing agriculture. We have sown the seeds, so to speak.
Yes.
Still ahead, an urgent call for the new administration: extend free rides until December this year. And the Philippines is not pleased over Taiwan's live fire drills off Ligaw Island. We'll be back after a quick break. Keep it here on the PNA Newsroom.
Sa matinding laban natin sa Coronavirus Disease 2019, sugpuin din natin ang pagkalat ng fake news. Huwag magbahagi ng impormasyon na hindi tiyak ang pinagmulan. I-check mabuti ang source ng balita. Kumuha lamang ng impormasyon mula sa mga official channel ng Department of Health. Huwag magpadala sa maling balita, basta't sama-sama at laging handa. Kaya natin to. Isang paalala mula sa DOH, PCOO, KBP at ng himpilang ito. Alamin kung paano ang tamang pagsusuot ng surgical mask. Una, hawakan ang mask sa strap at siguruhing natatakpan nito ang inyong bibig at ilong. Tandaan, ang may kulay na bahagi ng mask ang dapat nasa labas. Ito lamang ang tamang paraan ng pagsuot nito. Ihulma ang nose piece o maliit na metallic strip ayon sa hugis ng inyong ilong. Iwasan ang paghawak sa inyong ilong at bibig. Kung marumi na ang mask, hubarin ito gamit ang strap. at itapon ito sa isang basurahan. Siguruhin ang maayos na paghuhugas ng kamay gamit ang sabon at tubig. Ang surgical mask ay dapat gamitin ng mga pasyenteng may sakit sa baga o mga taong mayroong ubo, sipon at lagnat, mga nag-aalaga sa mga may sakit, at mga healthcare at frontline workers. Maaari ring magsuot nito kung kayo ay pupunta sa matataong lugar. Basta't sama-sama at laging handa, kaya natin to! Isang paalala mula sa DOH, PCOO, KBP at ng himpilang ito.
It's the start of a new chapter in the country's history as Ferdinand Bongbong Marcos Jr. takes over at its 17th chief executive. The younger Marcos is no stranger to politics and has been the subject of constant bashing from critics, but is seen as a unifying leader by his allies. Let's get to know more about the new president from Marita Moahe.
Congress, Ferdinand Romualdez Marcos Jr., the duly elected president.
Having been in public service for over 25 years, Ferdinand Bongbong Marcos Jr. proved that he is more than just the namesake and the only son of a late former president. His various stints in government enabled him to carve his own name in the country's political arena. According to his profile on the Senate website, the younger Marcos went to Institucion Teresiana for his kindergarten and La Salle Green Hills in Manila, where he finished his elementary education. He was later sent to England, where he lived and studied in an all-boys Benedictine Abbey Worth school. He pursued his undergraduate degree at the Oxford University in England, earning a special diploma in social studies. Bongbong also took up a master's degree in business administration at Wharton School of Business, University of Pennsylvania in Philadelphia, USA. But he had to cut his studies short after being elected vice governor of the Ilocos Norte in 1981 at the young age of 23, and later as governor of the province from 1983 to 1986. After his family's return from exile in 1992, Bongbong served as congressman in the 2nd District of Ilocos Norte. Among the landmark measures he authored was the establishment of the Philippine Youth Commission. He also advanced the cause of cooperatives by devoting most of his countryside development fund to organizing the cooperatives of teachers and farmers in his own province. Bongbong served as governor of Ilocos Norte from 1998 to 2007. During his tenure, he transformed Ilocos Norte into a first-class province. He also pushed for the promotion of natural and cultural destinations in the area. It was also under his term as governor when Ilocos Norte became a pioneer in wind power technology. He returned to the House of Representatives in 2007 and won a seat as a senator in 2010. During his stint in the upper chamber, Bongbong chaired the Senate Committee on Local Government and the Committee on Public Works in 2016. The younger Marcos ran for the vice presidency but lost by a small margin to Leni Robredo. Fast forward to 2022 with a battle cry of unity, his time finally arrived after garnering over 31 million Filipinos, which gives him a 6-year term, succeeding outgoing Chief Executive Rodrigo Duterte. Bongbong is the third scion of a former Philippine president to take the same path, after Gloria Macapagal Arroyo and Benigno Aquino III. He is married to lawyer Luis Araneta Marcos and has 3 sons, Sandro, Simon, and Vincent. Marcos is also temporarily taking over the helm of the Agriculture Department, which is now in a fighting arena against a looming food crisis, curbing smuggling and addressing other concerns that take a toll on the livelihood of workers in the sector.
I think that the problem is severe enough that I have decided to take on the portfolio of Secretary of Agriculture, at least for now, and at least until we can reorganize the Department of Agriculture in the way that it will make it ready for the next years to come.
For the PNA Newsroom, I am Marita Moahe.
Manila Police District announced that they will be implementing law enforcement checkpoints within the city limits for the inauguration of President-elect Ferdinand Bongbong Marcos Jr. on Thursday, June 30 at the National Museum. MPD spokesperson Major Philippine identified 13 border checkpoints in the following areas. In Barangay 101 along Mel Lopez Boulevard, H. Lopez Boulevard, and Juan Luna Street in Tondo, Blumentritt near corner Dimasalang Street in Santa Cruz, España Boulevard corner Blumentritt Extension, Ramon Magsaysay Boulevard corner Altura Street in Sampaloc, New Panadero Street City Limit in front of McDonald's Rizal Avenue corner R. Papa, Lubiran Bridge, Lubiran Street in Bacood, Pinaglabanan Bridge that connects San Juan and Manila, Rojas Boulevard near corner P. Ocampo Street and Taft Avenue, corner P. Ocampo in Malate, and 2nd Street Barangay 649 Baseco Compound in Port Area. Meanwhile, Ines assured that the MPD is now all systems go and ready for the big event and that around 5,000 MPD personnel will be deployed for the inauguration. Ines also reminded those who will go to attend the inauguration that jackets are not allowed to be worn on the day and make sure to bring with them transparent bags or backpacks. Balloons will also not be allowed in the venue. He explained that balloons may create fear in case they accidentally pop. He also reminded attendees to wear their face mask and those who may have COVID-19-like symptoms not to proceed. Ines also reiterated their call for demonstrators planning to hold protest rallies on the inauguration day to cancel their activities as Manila LGU is implementing a no permit, no rally ordinance. He said that those who will insist to hold demonstrations and protests may only do so in the city's designated freedom parks that includes Liwasang Bonifacio, Plaza Miranda, Plaza Moriones, and Plaza Dilao as long as they do not violate any law and ordinances. Protesters are also warned that burning of effigies, obstruction of traffic flow, and destruction of government and private equipment may be reasons for their arrest. A lawmaker on Monday asked the incoming Marcos administration to continue the Libreng Sakay program to help ease the impact of surging fuel prices on commuters. Camarines Sur Representative Luis Raymond Villafuerte said transport costs are eating up a large share of the overall inflation rate in Metro Manila alone. In May, inflation accelerated to 4.9%, owing largely to the increase of the transport index by 14.6%. About 7 billion pesos was allotted to the Land Transportation Franchising and Regulatory Board for the Libreng Sakay program from the national budget. However, 80% of the fund has been exhausted as more public utility vehicles avail of the program. Meanwhile, public transport groups are seeking an additional 2 peso jeepney fare hike nationwide, in addition to the approved 1 peso minimum fare hike in 4 regions. The group said the last time the minimum PUJ fare was increased to 10 pesos, the price of diesel was 48 pesos and 90 centavos per liter compared to the 81 pesos and 25 centavo per liter on June 8. Since the previous fare hike, they said the price of diesel has increased to 88 pesos and 65 centavos. But they said 1 peso fare hike is not enough to even cushion the effects of the fuel price increase. The Philippine government on Tuesday protested Taiwan's unlawful live fire drills off the coast of Ligaw Island. In a statement, the Department of Foreign Affairs said the move is an illegal activity that raises tensions and complicates the situation in the South China Sea. The DFA said Ligaw Island, also known as Ituaba, is an integral part of the Kalayaan Island group and therefore under Philippine sovereignty. Taiwan reportedly scheduled its live fire drills on June 28 and 29. Brunei, China, Malaysia, and Vietnam also have claims over Ligaw Island. To help fisherfolk in Lanao del Sur burdened by the continuous fuel price hikes, The Department of Agriculture has rolled out the fuel subsidy, entitling beneficiaries to discounts in gasoline. More on this from Lu Antonio.
The Department of Agriculture Bureau of Fisheries and Aquatic Resources Region 10 has started rolling out the fuel subsidy for fisherfolk in Lanao del Norte province. Through the Fuel Discount for Farmers and Fisherfolk program, 444 fisherfolk in the province were among the first batch to receive 3,000 fuel subsidy each in the form of discount cards, which they can use to purchase gasoline for their fishing operations. The fuel discount cash cards were distributed to the beneficiaries in partnership with the Universal Storefront Services Corporation and Development Bank of the Philippines.
Ang purpose is para makatabang in this time of pandemic o kaning high cost of fuel nato karon nga giatubang sa atong nasod karong panahon na.
In northern Mindanao, BFAR targeted 2,356 fisherfolk beneficiaries for a total of more than 7 million worth of fuel subsidy. However, only 2,326 fisherfolk were qualified for the assistance after validation. The distribution of the fuel cards for other provinces in the region will be scheduled for release within July.
Ang sa other provinces is I have instructed my PFOs to ilang i-fast track, kaschedule po sila o fuel subsidy sa mga fisherfolk in their respective provinces. This is only the beginning, but continuing this for as long as our municipal agriculture can submit the list of those qualified fisherfolk beneficiaries.
The beneficiaries of the fuel discount program were all registered in the Fisherfolk Registration System and Boat Registration System. For the PNA Newsroom, Lu Antonio of the PIA Iligan City and Lanao del Norte.
More stories from the newsroom. The Health Department is not backing down on its call for a veto of a bill regulating vapes. And welcome aboard again. Eastern Visayas is opening its doors to cruise tourists again starting next year. Details ahead. Stay with the PNA Newsroom. The provincial government of Davao del Sur has urged the next administration to sustain the gains under the National Task Force to End Local Communist Armed Conflict, or NTF-LCAC. Outgoing Davao del Sur Governor Mark Douglas Cagas IV said development programs under the NTF-LCAC should be sustained to keep communist rebels at bay and maintain peace and order. Cagas said the Provincial Peace and Order Council has recently declared the province insurgency-free. Meanwhile, at least 8 barangays in the province are recipients of the Barangay Development Program package after having been declared clear of communist presence and influence. This resulted from the aggressive operations undertaken by the Army's 102nd Infantry Brigade and with the support of the Philippine National Police, or PNP. The Department of Health, or DOH, has renewed calls to veto the Vaporized Nicotine and Non-Nicotine Products Regulation Act, or the Vape Bill. The Vape Bill, which has been approved by a congressional bicameral committee, is now an enrolled bill with the Office of the President. In an online media forum, Health Undersecretary Maria Rosario Vergere stressed the danger that vapes could bring, especially to children's health. She said because of this bill, the Department of Health and the Food and Drug Administration will lose capacity to monitor the health effects of these products. Earlier, the DOH said it will present its position to the next administration if the bill is enacted into law. Eastern Visayas is finally welcoming tourists from cruise ships in 2023 after a long break due to pandemic travel restrictions. The Department of Tourism said they have just completed the assessment of places that will be visited by international tourists next year. 2 cruise ships will be arriving next year, with one that will make a stop in Calangaman Island in Palompon, Leyte. Passengers of other cruise ships will visit 15 destinations in the country, including 9 sites in Eastern Visayas, such as Sambawan Island in Maripipi, Biliran, 4 islas in Leyte, Tacloban City, and the island town of Limasawa, Southern Leyte. Regional Director Karina Rosa Tiope said the return of cruise tourism in Eastern Visayas will spark the interest of local tourists to visit these destinations. The road projects constructed by the government are improving the lives of farmers, motorists, and other workers who now enjoy better travel conditions to previously unreachable parts of the country. Stephanie Sevillano reports.
The ongoing construction of a 47.4 million pesos farm-to-market road is seen to improve the lives of small-scale cacao farmers in Capalong, Davao del Norte. The Department of Trade and Industry said 1,670 residents will be provided with more opportunities once the project is completed in March next year. The project runs 2.7 kilometers from New Agno Mabantao Town to Mabuhay, Kapungagan, in the municipality of Capalong. In Nueva Ecija, the completion of a 7-kilometer farm-to-market road in Caranglan is a big help to farmers due to easier delivery of products to markets in the province. The 71.9 million pesos RA Padilla to Bunga FMR started in January 2020 and was completed last year. The Department of Agriculture Philippine Rural Development Project sees that these roads are among the essential projects in the countryside. Caraglan Mayor Mary Abad thanked the national government for the visible improvements brought about by the various PRDP sub-projects in the town. Meanwhile, the 2-lane access road in San Gabriel Town, La Union, leading to Tangadan Falls is expected to improve tourism once it is completed by 2023. The Department of Public Works and Highways said Tangadan Falls will soon be more accessible to residents and tourists with the construction of an access road intended to provide a safe, durable, and convenient driving experience. The project is under the Tourism Road Infrastructure Program with a convergence between DPWH and the Department of Tourism. For the PNA Newsroom, I am Stephanie Sevillano.
Let's take another look at today's biggest stories. Stay vigilant. The Health Department warns the public and those joining the inauguration of President-elect Ferdinand Marcos Jr. to observe health rules to prevent the event from becoming a super spreader event for COVID-19. Customs officials refute allegations of involvement in agricultural smuggling after they were named in a Senate report saying they were actively taking the lead in the campaign against this illegal activity. The Securities and Exchange Commission affirms its earlier decision to shut down Rappler over violations of constitutional provisions on ownership of media entities. And Manila expresses its strong objection to Taiwan's live fire drills off the coast of Ligaw Island, the latest of its moves to assert its sovereignty over its territories in the West Philippine Sea. As Filipinos, we all have a vital role to play in preventing the spread of COVID-19.
So remember, wear your face masks and face shields, wash your hands often, practice safe physical distancing, go out only for essential reasons, and get vaccinated as soon as possible to protect ourselves, our families, and the community. Together, we can beat COVID-19.
Thank you for watching another episode of the PNA Newsroom. For more news content, check our webpage or log onto the Philippine News Agency's Facebook and Twitter accounts. For more stories about the government and how it serves Filipinos, look for these hashtags in all of our social media platforms and websites. We are shown on the pages of the PCOO and its attached agencies. Also watch us on PTV4. And that's your daily dose of the biggest stories that you need to know. From the PNA Newsroom, we tell stories that inspire change. I am William Theo. Good day, everyone.